So, if I get to know Jesus, do I have to go to church? And the answer is yes, but it's not as bad as it sounds. Churches have become known over the last decades for some quite strange behavior and some, frankly, very, very bad behavior. I won't dig into all that. It's easy to illustrate, and some of you have got experience of walking into churches that were more like cults. Some of you walked into things that were just this huge religious ritual that you didn't even begin to understand. Some of you walked in and thought these people are just plain flat crazy than cut snakes. You know, we all got stories that are interesting about the church. Here's the reality of it. Church is meant to be a little taste of heaven. Church is meant to be where people who have the Spirit of God living in them relate to one another in love. It's meant to be a place where people who are looking for a little taste of heaven on earth can come and tell the truth about themselves, down to the darkest stuff, and where that can be just received and people go, yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of your story, but yeah, that's how that worked for me, and just find a commonality and an agreement that yeah, that needs to change. Oof. But you're loved, and here's how to get forgiven. Here's how to find the new. Here's the way to man up and take the consequences for the garbage that you did. Take those consequences. Deal with it. Understand. Yeah, you changed your world when that happened, but we're here to be your brothers and sisters while you walk into a new way of living. Might take a long time, but we're there. That's what church is meant to be. It's meant to be Jesus with skin. And I tell you, I experience that in the places that I go, from people who even haven't yet met Jesus, people who are looking for him. I see some of them just telling the truth of their lives and crying out their pain and talking about the horrible things that have happened to them and the horrible things they've done. And I just have this sense of kinship. Here is an honest person having a moment of truth and telling us, and through us telling God the truth about themselves. God is into that stuff. They're going to get a miracle right then, That's what church is about. Church is about when I'm tired and flogged out, I go and I just have that sense of I'm at home again. Church is that place where I don't know, it's funny, the presence of God is with us all, but Jesus says, a couple of you get together, it sort of gets stronger. It does. Something I've been working on lately, the presence of God in our midst, that's the power of God. And so, we get together and good things happen. So that's what church is meant to be. If you're watching this bit, you've probably got a long way to go before you're likely to turn up at a church. One of our missions, and this is very particular to our tribe, we want to make church really, really accessible. We do these things called fringe cells. There's no music. In a lot of them, there are no children because some of the stuff that needs to be talked about is adults only, There's no mucking around. We're there to tell the truth and to love one another into a new way of life. It's just very, very powerful. And that's a halfway house. We have some people for whom that becomes their church. No, this is home. We have a lot of people who graduate and they get the idea of being in fellowship with other people. Jesus with skin. They get the idea of how the Holy Spirit can speak to them through their brothers and sisters. Then they go on to a more mainstream church. Great, don't care. But look, here's the thing. Church has given itself a really bad rap. It deserves that. There's a lot of rubbish out there. And it's like, in another one I talk about the Bible, say, read a few versions, find one that you like. Church is the same. You need to find one that just, feels like Jesus. When, read the Gospels and get the hang of this bloke. And, when you walk in and you feel that sort of a presence in the air, that's your church, okay? And, if you want to get into this and you want to talk about church, get in touch. We can talk about where there might be a fringe cell around you or even how to start one. Get a few friends around you and just start to do Jesus together. But look, the bad news and the good news, yeah, we do got to go to church. No, you don't necessarily have to go to one of those real estate, God boxes on the corner of two streets. The real definition of church, 59 times in the New Testament, in the Bible, there are commands about one another. We've got to love one another, encourage one another, bear one another's burdens, a whole bunch of them. And you know, your real church is the people that you'll do that with and who will do that for you. That's what church is all about. And you know, in a sense, we've all got to make our own church. We've got to find those people that we really would tell the truth about ourselves to, that we really would allow them to speak to us and go, hey, woo, sunshine, I think you're off the mark there. You know, you're doing wrong. You know, and not burr up and go, oh, jinx, okay. You know, where we can get down and do some stuff for other people together and love it. And you know, that's what church is meant to be. And honest to goodness, Lee, I really believe we've got to reinvent church a lot. And part of Fringe is about that reinvention. And yeah, love you to get on the journey with us. So, sorry, yeah, church is part of the deal. But no, it doesn't necessarily mean you've got to turn up at one of those things you tried and didn't like. But we've got to do community together. We've got to be a community of people. That's how Jesus does stuff. That's what he requires of us. We've got to be able to love one another, and you can't do that just relating to YouTube. So don't rush, don't hurry. But the further you go with Jesus, the more you're going to realize, I got to get some folks around me. Love to help you with that.